So with that, what we're here to talk about today again is bid management and project collaboration. I'd like to first talk about some results of a survey that we did in the 2015 Sage Construction Technology Survey, and one of the questions we asked was, what is the biggest challenge that you have today in this whole area of technology? And the top response to that particular question was communication between the field and the office. And that includes getting information to the field, that includes getting status from the field, all sorts of things as we dug into the survey kind of fell into that pool. The next question, the next one was 13% said time to implement and train on new technology. And if you think about that, one of the things that we are seeing is a lot of new technology is being implemented in the field. And the field just doesn't have the time to pause and get to a lot of training. So the solutions we are looking for there, they have to be able to adapt to quickly and easily was our takeaway on that. Another one was resistance to new technology, and that actually was made up of two responses. The first one was resistance by employees to new technology, and that was actually at 7%. But the other one was resistance by management to change and resistance to technology at 5%. So together, those accounted for 12% of the responses. And then last was integration between software used within our company. There's been a number of studies actually looking at the amount of software that a particular construction company will use. And one of the things that we've been noticing there is a lot of point solutions where they're being purchased for a particular function, but they're really not connected. And so that is a concern by many of the construction companies that we interviewed. As we know, stuff does happen in construction. You need to keep the project moving. We need to move it quickly and respond to things. We're seeing more and more companies diversify in where they are working. They're going to regions that they have not worked in the past, and that continues. We saw that quite heavily during the recession, but we're seeing it even continuing today. And then, last one, of course, the project managers, superintendents, architects, engineers, they're out in the field quite a bit. And so they can't be constrained by their office. So these are some things and concerns that, again, we hear about in the construction space. We're continuing to see the importance of mobility increasing. These particular numbers are from a survey by JB Knowledge, and it's one that's been going on for 3 years now. And I pulled these numbers out of it. And in 2012, the question was phrased, how important is mobility to you and your field staff? And in specifically talking about technology. And as you can see there, it's went from 58% 3 years ago to 80%. The current survey is actually being conducted right now for 2015, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see that approaching 90% in the near future. So you got to ask yourself, what are you using? What are you using to communicate with the field? What are you using to get information to and from the field? Those are questions that you might be considering and might be one of the reasons you're here today. Another thing that we surveyed was for the folks that are using, for the companies that are using technology, what are those top uses? What are they using it for? And here's basically what the information that we got back. 48% said customer and job information. As I looked at that result and we dug into a little bit more, one of the things that we were seeing on the customer side was really actually in the service sector. And so the information about the customer or the location that the service technician is servicing. And then, of course, job information. Next was, this could really fall under job information, but true digital assets, drawings, photos, documents about the particular project. Daily field reports. And again, one of the suspicions we have on the survey is there are about 3 or 4 different point solutions out there for just daily field reports. That's what they do. And that's why we're thinking that, an individual item like this is popping up as compared to something like job information. Job cost and project reports, again, just knowing from a financial perspective, where am I on the project? How much is my budget on the project? How many hours have I actually used on that particular task or cost code? Those are the types of information that we feel folks will respond to in that particular area. And then what I already kind of talked about before was time capture and approval. So again, top uses for mobile technology, that's what we saw in that particular survey. As we look at a project team, as we all know, it's made up of many different members. Many of you are probably general contractors, and you have your individual company and the folks working at the home office. And then you, of course, have people out in the field, being superintendents, project manager, foreman, whatever it might be. But of course, we have the broader project team, which is made up of the owner, your upstream partner, owner, architect, engineer, and of course the downstream partners, subcontractors, vendors, suppliers. As we look at this, how are they communicating today? And one of the ways that we know for sure that communication has taken place is via email and via phone conversations. One of the challenges of both of those methods is that you really don't have the audibility of what took place. If a particular email is not saved, you really don't know what went on in that email thread. So as you think about a verbal conversation, you have even a worse case is because you don't have the details of that conversation recorded. So as a result of that, there are some challenges with the way that teams share information today and the way that they communicate on a project team. So as you look to the future, what is a way to address that? And there's no doubt that the cloud and the internet is one of the technologies that is currently in place that will help us do that. In the past, we have used email and used the phone, and again, indirectly, they do go through these communication methods, but the cloud brings us even more. It really delivers to us a place where they can get together and share information and communicate. And really, that's one of the things we're going to talk about today as we look at collaboration and how does collaboration show up on a project today. So as we look at this, in this whole area of operations, Sage is here today to talk about 2 new offerings that we are bringing available to our customers into the market. The first one is really in the pre-construction space. And in the area of pre-construction, we're talking about bid management, Sage Bid Management. You also might know that as invitation to bid. So in our pre-construction space today, we do have Sage Estimating, but we really did not have a tool available to our customers that would assist them in that whole invitation, solicitation of bid process. And we're going to look today at Sage Bid Management. And as you know, there's many standalone solutions out there. iSquareFoot is out there, SmartBid is out there. So there are, again, point solutions that solve that. But if you think about that whole process of bid management and invitation to bid, once you award that bid, there is information that you might want to move right into your project management or your construction cycle. And one of the benefits that we see of this overall offering is truly the movement of data between the Sage, the bid management, invitation to bid process, and the construction project center. So I'm going to go ahead and remute everyone. It sounded like we got a couple people that are unmuted here. So I'm going to go ahead and remute everyone for a second here, if you give me a few minutes. And Hold tight just a second.
Large. Extra large.
My little mute button's not coming on to mute everyone here, so just give me a second here, please.
You are now muted.
Okay, I'm going to continue here. So, like I was saying, Sage is bringing to the table two new offerings, Sage Bid Management and Sage Construction Project Center. With these two offerings, one of the advantages I mentioned is they are collaborative and they work together. As a subcontractor would move from a bid management process, we are having that information flow into the Project Center, and then from there it actually will flow into the Sage 300 or Sage 100 back-end software. These two offerings are subscription-based cloud solutions, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a little while, but they are true cloud solutions where we would establish you as a user up in the cloud, and then we would connect these solutions to your back office Sage 300 or Sage 100 solutions. So as I look at that, I'm going to just kind of talk a little bit about bid management and then a little bit about Project Center, and then actually jump into the software. So as I look at bid management, I always break it up into two pieces. The first piece is who are the bidders and what is that list of bidders? And really that's the first thing that Sage Bid Management helps you maintain is the list of bidders. Included in that is three types of what I call qualification information. The first part is what is your pre-qual results for that particular bidder. Assuming many of you go through a pre-qual process, the system offers the ability to store that information. The second part is what is their particular certification data pertaining to certifications like MBE, WBE, etc. Are they qualified that? And that information, of course, can help you in your bid coverage. And the third part is as part of the overall bid management project center solution, where a subcontractor goes from bid management to working on the project, we actually have a rating opportunity. So when the project is complete, your staff can rate that particular subcontractor, and that feeds back into the bidding cycle. And so you get to analyze how did they perform on your projects in a variety of different ways. So once we get our bidder list established, then we're basically ready to start working on a bid for a particular project. And through the use of the software, you have the ability to create the bid package. Many times those bid packages are customized and templated to your use. Once you create the bid package and you get your bidders assigned to it, you then have the ability to go through the invitation to bid process via email or fax, the ability to monitor who is going to bid, and then keep that information for many, many years. So in a nutshell, who are the bidders and what is their qualifications, followed by the bid package for each individual project and that whole invitation to bid process. With all that, we anticipate that you will definitely see reduced administration time, better response, faster response from your subs, and then improved documentation on exactly what is occurring during the bid process. Some of the benefits, higher response rate from the bidders, save money, ensure proper reports, better documentation, again, some of the things I just spoke to. As we look at the Project Center, this is what some of your projects you might sometimes feel like is just a lot of chaos. A lot of people communicating in many different ways, and we're looking for Project Center to help us address this. As we look at Project Center, we're going to bring together all of those different parties that I spoke to earlier that are part of the project team and help in that collaborative effort. So as we look at that, Sagen Project Center is made up of a number of pieces. It handles a lot of your more traditional project management documents, submittals, RFI specifications, daily logs, meeting minutes, and so on. But it also gets into dealing with the cost management side and the contract management. And again, I will speak to that in more detail as we get into the software. And one of the other advantages of the solution, the overall Project Center, is it's accessible by all project stakeholders that you want to invite in. So you control that accessibility, you control what they can do. But one of the most important pieces is you also can see what they are doing. And with that, you know if a particular bidder has downloaded drawings, if they've downloaded addendums. So you could actually monitor and have better visibility into what is actually happening on the project by different project members. So as we look at that, become more organized and productive is one of the definite benefits. Minimize the risk of litigation. The more information you can track of exactly what has happened on the project, it definitely improves your opportunity in the case of a claim or litigation. Gain a competitive edge. We are definitely seeing within the industry, and we're actually seeing this written into the requirements on a project, that there does need to be some level of collaboration tool available to the owner and the engineer. And we believe that having this type of opportunity can give you that competitive edge. So with that, I'm going to now kind of switch from a PowerPoint, and hopefully what we've done there is established a bit on what is the need, what is the demand, what is the value proposition behind the solution. So with that, I'm going to take my PowerPoint, move that over to the side, and bring in my particular browser. As I mentioned earlier, this software runs, is an internet cloud-based solution, so it runs in a browser. I'm currently running in Internet Explorer, and you're going to see some work that I'm going to do here in a little bit, where I'm going to be running in Chrome. With Chrome, one of the things that we're working on is Chrome has actually changed a lot of their, we'll call it, levels of requirements of software that's written in it, and we're actually doing some transition to what I call the latest version of Chrome right now. So with that, as I speak today, I'm going to wear a couple different roles. Because this is a collaborative solution, I'm going to sometimes log in as the project manager. Other times I might log in as the architect, whereas other times I might even log in as the downstream partner, we'll say the subcontractor or mechanical contractor. I'm going to start out with, though, looking at things from the PM's perspective. So I'm going to log into the solution, and I'm into the Project Center, and I've got my particular Project Center set up here to really show multiple things. The two things that I'm going to be using it for today is for both bid management and for Project Center. But one of the things that came up in the last time I did this presentation is people were asking, do I have to log into one application and then log out of that to get in the Project Center? And the answer to that is no. You'll notice here I'm looking at Camp Randall improvements here, and I have access to RFIs, punch lists, daily logs, and a variety of things, where right within the same solution, I have access to my bid packages and my bid management tools. So as I look at the overall thing, I'm going to talk a little bit about navigation and coupled with security, because as you look at a collaborative solution, security is a big factor. You have to be comfortable that you can control what people see and what people do. So the first thing I'm going to start with is a little bit on navigation. Over here I've got a tree control, which really shows me a variety of different options that I can use across the whole organization. But down in here, it brings me to a level where I can see things specific to my company. So for example, one of the things here you'll notice I've got Sage Construction and I've got two separate locations. One of the options with the software is actually to set up different locations. And part of the value there is if you want to brand communication or documents as you send them out in a more regional fashion, you can actually accomplish that with the solution. If you wanted to make regions go away or locations go away, it's an optional setting. Underneath each region, then, of course, we have the projects for each region. And if you're looking at here, I've got 3 particular projects that I have access to. Underneath each one of these, I've also got different tasks that I can execute and I can run. And there's really 2 ways sometimes to navigate through the software. One is through a tree control, and some people just prefer this type of navigation, whereas another type is through this type of navigation where I'm going to a tab and drop downs of different options that I have available to me. I'm going to go into an area right now to kind of show a little bit about the security systems that are built into it. So I'm going to go into project setup here, and one of the things that you get to do as you work with it, as you set up a project, you will eventually invite project members to it. And each project member, when they're established in the system, and when I speak of project members, I'm talking about both companies that are internal to your organization as well as external. And you'll notice here I've got an architect, that's an external. I've got an assistant project manager, that's an internal. Goki here is an internal. And I can sort things like that. If I just wanted to see all the ones in Sage Construction, I can filter down the list by just typing and hitting enter, and it starts filtering down the list. So in all the grids throughout the software, you've got that type of capability. But as I have each member is assigned a role. And when they're assigned to a different job, to a particular project, they're assigned their default role, but they actually can change. An example of that might be I've got an assistant project manager that occasionally on small jobs will take on more of a project manager role. And so that level of flexibility is built into the system. So with these roles, what you in essence get to do is assign the tasks that the individual can perform. So if I look on these 2 different jobs here, you'll notice here that as I look at this whole area of project management, I've got, in this example here, 5 things that I can do. But if I look at this other project, I've got the ability to do more things. So one of the benefits of the system is you actually get to control the levels of security for the individual and even carry that down to the job. Now, you might ask yourself, do I have to do that on every single project? And the answer to that is no. All this type of setup that I'm kind of referring to all just gets defaulted into the system automatically. And then I get to do the same thing with my subs and basically all members of the project. So if I looked at, for example, the assistant project manager here, I can open that particular person up on this job, and I can see a variety of things about it. But over here, I've got, what are their permissions on this project? And so right here, I can set the activities that that particular person can participate in. Again, custom defaulted into the project, but again, customizable within the project. So that gives you a little bit of kind of information about security. The other thing that's critical in a collaborative environment is that you often find yourselves wanting to know, what did someone do? So I can actually go into this area called reports, and one of the more common tools we have available is this activity log. So with the activity log, I can see for the given project what activities were actually going on. And as you can see here, a bid package was sent out. Mike Mechanical here did some work on an RFI update. So I can actually filter through this list. if I wanted to see everything, if I just wanted to see all the users that have logged in to the system in the last couple weeks or couple days, I could come in here, go to user login, and for example, say I want to see everyone that's logged in, go to user login for the last, I'm going to look for since the 15th of June, and refresh this preview, and it actually goes out and would show me that information. So with this, I've got the ability to really keep track of who has been on the system and when and what they did. And again, that information can be used in a variety of different ways. One, just to manage the project team, but number two, also to truly identify, what someone has done. If someone says that I did not download a particular drawing or something like that, you have the ability to actually trace down and see if indeed they did or did not download something. So that hopefully gives you a little bit of information about the security systems that are built into the software. So I'm going to switch gears now, and I'm going to speak to the bid management component. And I'm going to I've got a variety of bidders set up in my list, and I'm going to go into an existing project that I've actually got set up already, and I'm going to look at the bid packages for that particular project. When I set up the bid packages, you've got some different levels of flexibility. One of the areas is, do I set up a bid package for the entire project, or do I want to break that up into a number of bid packages? I was talking to a general contractor last week, and he says we do one for site work, we do one for the major concrete, and then everything else we put into a particular one bid package. So how you do that and what you put into bid packages is really up to you, and you've got methods to default the bid packages as well. And when you do that, that includes the areas for bidding as well as the bidders. Then you can actually add or subtract from there. If I look at this particular view, it's a real nice recap of this particular bid package. I can see that I've sent out 8 invitations to bid. 4 of them have been actually viewed. Of the 4 that have looked, 2 have basically said they are going to bid, 1 said they are not, and 2 have basically said to me they might bid. So at a real, very, very, very high level, I've got some idea of activity in result of me sending out the invitations to bid. With that, I also have a real nice recap here of the detail. And so right with this simple view, I can see in my different divisions or phases that I'm looking to have bidding on, who are the bidders that I've got participation in. Notice here, concrete, I've got 2 companies that I'm working into the mix. One I've actually sent the bid package to, the other one I haven't yet. I've got a reply back from one saying tentative, and the other one hasn't replied yet. So this very nice simple recap is one of the tools or deliverables just contained in the solution. As I drill into the bid package, I can open it up now, and as I look at the different screens, as you look at them, you're going to see a lot of consistency throughout them. I'm going to have areas within the page that have different forms that I get to fill out, rich text areas for bolding and fonting of major areas of text. But I also then have up at the top of the screen a variety of different actions that I can take pertaining to what I'm looking at down below. So if I wanted to add a bidder, it's as simple as pressing the button to say add bidder. If I wanted to add some files to it, maybe I wanted to add bidding instructions, I would just hit add file, browse out to where I have the bidding instructions, and go ahead and add them. And I've already done that on this particular project. So if I look at this particular project, I've got some information about the project here, instructions. Down below here, I've got the actual instructions to bid. When I actually send the invite, this will be one of the pieces that's delivered. We encourage companies to actually put the drawings and specs for the project onto the site and let the bidders come out and download them. One of the reasons we do that is, number one, we know who's downloaded them, and then number two, if you send things through email, a lot of times the different email systems will strip stuff off. So we really, through the whole solution, encourage people to come back out to the site and do things. And you're going to see in a second how easy that is to do. Up in the middle here, I've got all the detail of my bid packages. So I've already set this one up. I've got different areas, divisions that are being bid on. I know who the bidders are, that I've got kind of work in the area. I know some of the qualifications. This particular bidder, subcontractor, is MBE, DBE certified, and I've also got some pre-qual ratings in place for them. So this information gives the person managing this particular bid, be it an administrative person, an estimator, whoever it might be, a really visible tool to interact with. With this, you can also resend invitations. If I add a bidder, I can come in here and send them. Sending it is as simple as going to someone. So I'm going to go down to the electrical here, for example. And I'm going to say I want to send them an invitation. So I can come in here, select them, and like I mentioned earlier, take action. So I can say send options, and right from this area, I can say email it, fax it, or user preference. And what the user preference is if this particular person likes to get their invitation to bid via fax, I can define that at the user level, or I can say no, always use email for this particular company or individual. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I've got my item that I want selected here. I want to send this out because I've been bugging them. I haven't heard from them, and I can say send options. So I can go into here and say email, and say please confirm, and I say okay. So what actually happens then is it actually says it queues up an invitation to bid for that particular person, and it allows me at that point in time to, if I'm again administering this, for all intents and purposes, I'm done. So I'm going to switch hats here and log out as that project person for the general contractor, and I'm going to pull up a Gmail account because I'm using that for demonstration purposes, and I'm going to basically be that electrician and show you what that electrician receives. So logging on as the electrician here, I'm going to come in here and I'm just logging into an email system. As I get to my email, I can see there was an invitation to bid on this particular project, and I can open it up and look at it. So I open it up and I start looking at it. I know what the project is. I can see it was sent to me. I can see here different instructions. Those are things that were typed into that middle portion of the form. Down below, if there were attachments, I've got those attachments that are included. And in my particular case, I put some bid instructions there. So right from here, as that subcontractor, I can review things, and I can even use the system right now to communicate back to the general contractor my intentions. So I might say, I really haven't decided. I want to check, our work schedule and make a decision and learn more about the project. So I'm going to hit the Might Bid option. And what it actually does, it brings me to a little page that says, I am going to go ahead and I will bid. I could type in a response, I'm planning to bid. I can include right in this form, any form of attachment. Maybe I have a piece of marketing information with all my pre-qual information that I include on all my bids. So it's in essence a way to communicate with the general contractor. So as I do that, I would type all that in and basically say save. And at this point in time, it would record that information all to the site and would actually send an email back to the person that was designated as the administrator for the bid management portion. And so I would be able to log back in, and as I do that, I would be able to then see, if I go back to my bid package, I could actually go in and see and identify if they've attached anything, see what their decision was as far as are they going to bid or not bid. And as I work my way in, I go back to my electrical here, and I would have all that additional information. I could even see that information that they typed in about I am planning to bid. If they had put attachments in, I have quick access to all of that information right here. If for some reason on this particular project, the bidder is actually not the person I had sent it to, but it is someone else, I could actually change right here the contact information for this particular bid on this particular project. So I've got a variety of information, again, that is very project and bid centric that allows me to truly manage that bid process much better. With all that, as I work through the whole bid process, the final step then would be, a final award the bidder. And so with that, I've got the ability to actually select a particular company, make them the bidder, and if I would go through that process, it actually would set that customer up as a project member on the project, and they are now then set up to move into the construction stage. So with that, I'm going to do a quick pause, and if I got any questions on that bid management, I'll go ahead. I saw one flash, but I missed it. *6 to unmute. I'll pause here for a few seconds, see if there's any questions on that. Okay, well then I must have answered the question that was there. I'm going to kind of switch gears now and leave the bid management area and move into the construction cycle. And one of the more collaborative pieces of documents that goes on, or processes that goes on every single project, is the whole RFI process. So I'm going to actually walk through an example of a mechanical contractor who is getting ready to, is walking the site before he comes in and starts working, and he's noticing that an area where he might have to put where he's planning on putting some ductwork, there's an obstruction there of some sort. So he's actually out in the field, and he's got potentially he's got a tablet. He's been invited to the project and given instructions on, if you have an RFI and you need to submit it, here's what you need to do. So that's kind of the scenario I'm going to paint. Now, in this whole area of RFIs, you get to decide if you want your subcontractors or project members to actually put in the RFI and submit it themselves, or if you just, as the GC, want to take it from an email and push it into the system. But I'm going to go through the collaborative one right now. So with that, I'm going to actually log out as the project manager, and I'm going to log back in as a mechanical contractor. So I'm going to log back in as the mechanical on this particular project, and you'll notice that there's a variety of things that have already started changing. The first one is, notice the Badger region here, only 2 jobs, whereas when I was logged in as a project manager, I saw 3 jobs. So with that example, the reason for that is because I'm only working on 2 particular jobs for Sage Construction, and those are the only ones I have access to. Then you also notice this list of tasks is quite a bit shorter. And again, it's that level of security that kicks in on what this particular project member can actually do. So with that, I'm going to go in and actually submit an RFI. Again, I could have done this right from a tablet. If I had an iPad out in the project, I could have done it right from there. So with that, I'm going to go in, and you'll notice here that I've got this log, purposely defined for me, my mechanical RFI log. And you'll also notice I've actually put in 2 RFIs already. Now, the other thing to notice is that, and I don't have it in this example, but notice here that RFI number 1 me as the mechanical contractor was actually promoted up into the contractor's RFI 15. Because if you think of a traditional project, I could have an electrical, mechanical, a concrete guy, all these different people pushing in RFIs, and they really want their numbering on it because they want to be able to track that. So what an individual company mechanical would do is I would come in here and say, I've got a new RFI. Automatic pre-fills for this project, showing it's from me. It's going to the project manager for the GC. I can put out some subject, pipe in way of ductwork, or whatever the situation might be. What I'm looking for is I need some direction, clarification, what they want me to do. So there's a variety of information I can fill in here. But I'm going to keep it simple here and say there is a pipe in the way of the first floor ductwork, and I could reference a drawing number, I could reference a plan, do whatever I need to get a clear question in place. I could attach things. If I wanted to attach a picture, I can come in and say add file, go to select. I'm just going to grab, I think I've got some pictures here. And let me go out to my pictures. I'm just going to grab a picture. And again, if I actually had an iPad, I could grab things right off the camera roll. So I grabbed a picture and I inserted it. So as the mechanical now, I've got the question in place. I've got, you know, what the issue is. I've got a picture attached. If I wanted to reference a document, I could. But for purpose of demonstration, I'm going to put that in and I'm going to transmit. So now as the mechanical, for all intents and purposes, I'm done. I put it in, it's open, I've transmitted it, and I can log out. So kind of going back to the storyline that I had before is I'm going to go back in now and show the project manager and actually show what he would have received. So the project manager, I'm going to log back into email for the project manager, and I basically am notified of the event that there was a new RFI. So I can see the RFI came in, and I can then review that RFI right from here. So I can open this up, and I'm starting to look at it, and I could grab a PDF of it if I wanted to right here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a PDF of it. And it went out, grabbed the information it needed, and produced that PDF right here for me. So as I look at this, you know, there's the PDF, but you'll also notice there's the other attachment I put on. I had put an attachment, in this particular case, a picture right on it. So right from that PDF request, I could see quite a bit of information about the PDF. The other option I actually had is right from here, I could actually log into the site and pull up. Let me go ahead and log out and do that again here. I can log into the site as the PM, and I pull that up, and it takes me right to the RFI. So I've kind of looked it over, and what I want to do now is I don't want to answer it. I want to bring it into my formal RFI log. So notice there's this button here called forward, and I'm going to, in essence, forward it into my log. And you'll notice what happened here is I've got the mechanicals source. That's where it came from, his number 3. I'm on number 17 is my RFI. It's automatically set to go to my upstream partner, in this case, the architect. If I wanted to clarify this a little bit more and type more narrative saying, I could even put in a suggestion on what I think we should do. So there's a variety of ways I can kind of respond to that. But in essence, the big thing I need to accomplish is I need to get the architect involved. So I go ahead and I put that all in. Notice the picture that was attached from the sub. That's automatically brought forward as well. So with all that, I go ahead and I basically say transmit it. And now basically what it has done is it's got that RFI all in my particular log, and at that point I can, pertaining to this particular RFI, really I'm all done with it. So I could again log out of the system. Now I'm not going to go through this whole process again with the architect, but you're going to see similarities that the architect logging into his email, I can see that I've now been notified about that particular RFI. Oops, it hasn't come through yet. But I would be notified about that particular RFI. And again, right from that RFI, I can log in and continue that flow through the process. And I'm going to just go ahead and log in as the architect here. And again, I could have done that right from the email, or I can do it from within the site itself. So I'm going to go back out to the project solution here, go to the RFI log, and I'm just going to pull that one up. And as the architect, because that's who I'm logged in here, I can come in here and actually put through a response. And go ahead and relocate, whatever the answer might be, they can go ahead and respond that in and put through that reply. I also, if I wanted to, I could add a CC and send it to the engineer because I want the engineer to actually respond. So one of the things that actually happens in this reply area is it becomes a thread of the conversation around the RFI. So I would have all the communications around that RFI start showing up here. So hopefully that gives you a real high-level overview of a simple project management, document management task. And if I go into something like, I'm going to go back in as the project manager, and I'm going to go into daily reports. You'll notice here when I go into daily reports that, again, I'm seeing similarities. So I've got daily reports here, and I've got my action bar up here. I've got all my different daily reports that have been put into the system. And, I'm going to go ahead and I can create a new one by just saying new report. Or if I want to, I could actually pick an existing one and I can say copy. Now notice the temperature is 75 degrees. So I say copy, and it actually then goes out, and one of the things that it does is it immediately queried a weather service. So when I did that and I created that, it updated the weather with the current weather. It's now 81 degrees on whatever today is on Wednesday. So in this daily report then, I've got areas where I can record notes about visitors, deliveries, and so on. But I also have a spot for any sort of attachment. So if I'm responsible for taking a series of pictures every day, I can actually take those pictures and attach them right to the daily report. I could also record activity on the project, which subcontractors were on the project, what was their level of participation as far as workforce they had. Because I copied it from the previous day, this automatically showed up. So let's say the electrical contractor really wasn't here today, so I can come in here and then say delete that activity, and that particular activity is now off of my daily report for the day. If the concrete guy came in with a slightly different crew makeup, I can come in here and record the differences, and he brought with him a total of 4 laborers for today, which gives them 32 hours of man-hours of work. So with that, I've got the ability to, right from here, go ahead and edit and maintain the daily report and then save it away. One of the things that you have is all through the system, we have a variety of reports. There's some reports here, but I can go to the report menu, and in all the different reports, be it submittal reports, daily reports, whatever it is, I've actually got the ability to transmit the report right from within the solution. So in this case, I could pick a daily report for a particular day and actually transmit it right in the solution if I wanted to. The other thing you could do with these reports is you can actually pre-schedule them. So that hopefully, again, gives you some levels of observation about the consistency of the user interface as we look at the overall solution. So I've spent some time today looking, again, more at a project management example. And as you can see here, there's a variety of different tasks or activities that are available to me. I also have the whole area of document management, our plans, our specs. There is a very specific photo log. There's the ability to implement the system as if it's an FTP site or a Dropbox, and I have the ability to integrate into Citrix ShareFile as a repository for uploading different sets of files, submittals, a variety of different things. And then the last part of it is in this area of cost management. Now, the solution has been used on by over 50 companies, almost 75 companies in this whole area of project management. But a lot of it has been focused on primarily the project management and document management area. And everything that's in the software today in this whole area of project management, document area, has been used to do projects from $1 million tenant improvement project up to a 80-story skyscraper in downtown Chicago, which had 2 prime contractors and thousands of workers on it, and hundreds and hundreds of RFIs and plans and specs and so on. So the solution scales and is currently scaling to projects of many different sizes. But the area that, as we are working on right now, is this whole area of cost management. And this is an area that we have some components of it available today, but there is additional components being built out. And these is really are the pieces that will integrate with the Sage 300 and Sage 100 area. So if I go into cost management, I'll give you a little bit of a view of some of the work that's going on here right now. So in this whole area, you'll notice that I've got the capabilities to, number one, directly from within 100 or 300, we can retrieve and pull up numbers. And this is an example where we're pulling up the budgets from within Sage 300. And it pulls up the cost codes and the categories, also has a spot for extras. Other views of this data would include job to date cost, because job cost is your system of record for job to date cost, and that would flow up into here as well. Another area of integration is this whole area of the prime contract or your upstream contract. So this would be typically your contract with the owner. This information is pulled directly out of the contract system in Sage 300. It would also be pulled out of the equivalent solution in Sage 100. In addition to that, we will be synchronizing companies, vendors, and people from the back office solution up and down through the different synchronization tools that we're putting in place. And then the fourth area of integration that we're building out is in the whole area of subcontracts and commitments. And so this is an example. Right now the screen is not complete yet, but it would basically have all the different subcontracts that are working on the project. And with that, then, we will build out the whole change management area pertaining to these 3 areas. So changes pertaining to the subcontracts, as well as changes pertaining to the prime contract, which would include PCOs, change order requests, eventually being rolled up into one or more change orders. And so that's going to be a piece of information that we're going to talk about at a later point in time. But I saw a quick question flash through about submittals, and let me just go ahead and show one screen on the submittals, and then we'll start wrapping some things up. So when you actually work within the software or within the solution, you get to build out your submittal log, again, however you want to. One of the ways that we see a lot of companies do it is for each division, they basically put their submittal packages in each individual division. So I'm going to go into Division 3, for example, and pull up an existing submittal package that was built out. So this submittal package was for concrete. I open it up and I can see different high-level information about the package. This is one of the features that does not currently exist in the Sage 300 project management application or in Sage 100, is this whole notion of submittal packages. Within each package, I can build out the items. I could modify existing items, or I could add new items to the package. Descriptions of what they are, any sort of attachments that I want to put on it at this point, when I expect they're due, those types of things. With all that, I then have a good list, a solid list of the different submittal items that I'm expecting, and it then goes through a process of receiving the submittal, sending it to the architect, letting the architect respond with their stamps, and you'll notice here that some of them I've got approved, exception is noted, and then notice this one, number 3 here, I had to revise and submit, and we restarted the process with that particular item. So there's different ways as I work through this overall solution to deal with one submittal item or a group of submittal items. So that was just a very high-level overview of submittals and submittal packages.
I have 2 questions in the queue for you.
Okay, so with that, we're kind of getting close to the hour here, so I'm going to open it up. We got 2 questions in the queue.
One is, will we still need to put Sage PJ, or will this replace it?
The question was, will you use PJ, or will this replace it? Over time, the way we would suggest that you would actually use the solution is as you start up new projects, you would actually start them up here. As we get the complete functionality of change management, contract management integrated, those particular projects that you would start here would have all the functionality that's in project management and more. Any existing projects that you got going, you would typically would be recommended that they stay there. But the functionality that is in project management, we will have all that functionality here plus more. And submittal packages is a real simple example of that. RFIs, the ability to collaborate on an RFI is much more powerful than we have actually in project management. Second question.
Second question is from Jim Jensen. How do the subs and consultants interface with Sage?
The question was, how do the subs and consultants interface with Sage? Great question. The way the pricing model works on the solution, and this is something I would invite you to reach out to your business partner to get more information. They have been they're basically learning the application as we speak. It's a subscription-based solution. So you subscribe to the solution based on the number of internal users that will be using it. And an internal user to us is someone within your organization. External users like consultants, owners, architects, engineers, subcontracts, there is no charge. We want them to participate, and we do not want a charge to get in the way of that. So as you invite them and they register with you, you place them on a project back into that project setup area that I was looking at earlier. And once they get placed on a project, they get invited to participate on that project with whatever level of security you have provided to them. So with that, I'm going to go through a couple more little quick things here and start wrapping things up. So if you got additional information or questions about Sage Bid Management or Sage Construction Project Center, you can contact either your customer account manager at 800-858-7095, or you can contact your business partner. They've got access to the site. They can probably review certain things with you again and get back to us with questions that they might not be able to answer yet. As I talked about and kind of hinted at this earlier, is the integration to Sage 100 and 300. Our current plans are to roll that out in 2 phases. The first phase deals with what you're seeing on the screen here today, and that would involve companies, contacts, and vendors, things that are currently housed within the job cost application, extras, cost code categories, and things about them. Of course, that includes descriptions, but more importantly, it includes numbers and amounts. So I would be, one of the numbers that I showed earlier we would be pulling up would be estimates and job-to-date cost, for example. In addition to that, then this phase of integration will include subcontracts and subcontract change orders. And the solution that we're building, the workflow that we're building, is that as a result of a bid management process, if you're using that, it would set up that particular vendor on that particular job, and you would actually be able to build out the subcontract, and then that subcontract would be sent to Sage 100 or Sage 300, and then you would adjust the subcontract via change orders built up in the project center. So that's kind of phase 1. Phase 2 is talking very specifically at the upstream change order process. And we do realize that there is an overlap between the upstream and the downstream, but at this point in time, we felt that getting this out in the field is critical to our customers, and we want to get that available to them as soon as we can. Then we will follow with the approved change orders, and really what that gets into is changing of budgets and the revenue side of the contract. So with that, that paints out a little bit of the integration plan. Like I mentioned earlier, document management and the project management activities around RFIs, transmittals, submittals, that is 100% in place today. The parts that we're adding, which are targeted for the fall and the winter, are these 2 integration areas as we roll out the integration into the back office solution. So with that, we're about 5 minutes after the hour. I'll hang on for just a few minutes and see if there are any other questions. If not, again, please contact your business partner